Welcome, my lovelies, to Unicorn Light Tarot. I sincerely hope you are doing well today, and if you're not, hopefully this reading will help you. For those of you who are brand new, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's an absolute honor to have you here today, and for those of you who are returning, obviously, welcome also. Before we get going on this wonderful reading from Guinevere, I have a very special announcement. Excuse me, Miss Lily here is in charge of the. Okay, Lily. Okay, so a lot of you have been getting in touch and asking for more witchy advice, and particularly for spells and things like that. And while I am working on my own spell book, which should be out relatively soon, who wants to wait? I certainly don't. I'm extremely impatient. So we have this beautiful 100 love spells. For those of you who have been with me for a while and have read my book, you know that I'm a writer. I also used to be a staff writer at Witch Way magazine, which is the premier lead magazine of witchcraft in the United States. They are absolutely wonderful. I worked with them for a couple of years, and they also have their own, they're sort of a conglomerate now. They're getting out there. They have their own sort of publishing aspect to their beautiful Witch Way ways. So they have this book out, 100 Love Spells. It spells for love, passion, self-acceptance, and harmony, and I am in it. It's really exciting, actually. I'm presuming that pretty much everybody here, I recognize some of these names from back in the day, are still staff writers, but I have Attract, Commitment. There's a bunch of other spells from lots of other people too. Bring Love, Talisman, Pet Love, and a few others in here from me. But there's a bunch of others of beautiful witches here. You can look them all up in their bio, doing some great stuff out in the world. And I also find that when you're first starting out, or if you're at a loss, or you're just trying to make some room in your life for some spells, but you don't really know what path to take, it's sometimes really wonderful to get a book where there are many different energies coming together, and then you can just sort of pick and choose and see where you are. It's also nice to like support an author when you love their work, also when you know their actual energy. But when you're first starting out, or you just don't know where you want to go, it's really important, I think, to have many different energies come together. So that's what I love about this book. I mean, it's fairly portable, I think, you know, depending on how big your pockets are, but you can certainly put it in your bag, take it out, read it on the subway, spread the love wherever you go. So this is for a pre-purchase. It'll be released soon, but you can pre-order this on Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and link the link down below. I'm also going to link the link for Witch Way magazine, and they have a magazine, I believe, every month, and you can go back and order all the previous months too. They have a digital copy and a corporeal copy, an actual copy that you can have in your hand. So it's pretty wonderful. So that's there. Do check it out if you feel called to. Also, you saw that we got the Lily familiar seal of approval. Every great book Lily has put her butt on, and the minute I plopped this down, Lily literally just sat on top of it. So pretty much the Lily seal of approval. So, you know, you really don't need anything more to know that this is going to be a good book. So much love to Witch Way. Thank you so much for including me in this too, even though I haven't written for them in a couple of years, but I loved writing for them. Greatest group of people coming together. So if you're feeling called to, link below, off you pop, and get some magic into your life. All right. So here we have 3 piles. Today what I thought we would do is Guinevere. Keeps talking to me. Definitely want to do Guinevere. These are timeless readings, but when this is made live, of course, we are coming into Valentine's Day. So Guinevere is actually the goddess of love, relationships, fertility, and motherhood. She has a deep magical relationship with flower fairies too, and we love fairies and unicorns on this channel. Yay, yay, yay. It is said that Guinevere's ancient roots go back as far as the triple goddess in Celtic lore, and some say she is the manifestation of the triple goddess. We, of course, know her as King Arthur's wife, and of course, we also know her as being in love with King Arthur's cousin, Sir Lancelot, too. It's also said that her and King Arthur are buried in Glastonbury Abbey in the south of England. I've been to Glastonbury. I haven't been to where they're supposedly buried. So you can actually visit their graves. And also, because she was in love with Sir Lancelot, she works with souls that want to find true love without compromise in this lifetime. That includes reuniting soulmates. So she's all about not settling for love, going for the love that you absolutely deserve. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're also going to leave it relatively open, see what messages Guinevere has for you. But we will be doing the sword, the Lady of the Lake tarot spread today. We'll be doing that in each of the piles. It'll be a past, present, future, a past lives, and then what we've got going on in this lifetime, and gets you some messages there. And for those of you who have been with me for a while, we have the magic oil here. You can either release what no longer serves you or bring in manifestation and abundance. We can certainly do that. And that's what we will be doing for this. There's an extra level of manifestation, abundance, healing, whatever you need this reading to be. I also went out of my way to make another magic oil. So we have a clove oil on this too. So clove for cleansing, purifying, and protecting. And then with the sesame oil that I used for lust, passion, healing, and fertility. So don't get freaked out if none of you want a baby. That's totally fine. I got your back. It includes fertility with creative elements, and we have the element of fire working there. So we've got the double magic candle going on here. So that will absolutely lend and give a hand to these beautiful readings. So I also want to thank Witchery Magazine for all of these beautiful little accoutrements that they sent in the box when I received my copy of this book. My husband actually ate most of the candy. I was able to grab these two out of his cold, hungry hands. So for pile one, we have these beautiful heart-shaped chocolates. For number two, we have these two roses together for love. And for number three, we have three roses together for love. So as always, take as much time as you need. If you need to go ahead and pause the video, align your energy as much as you can. Take a breath, come back into the present moment. The more you align with your energy and these readings, the more these readings will, of course, apply to your own life. So go ahead and pause the video, do whatever you need to do. Take some time for yourself. The timestamps will be down below as always. And we still have Lily is in the corner here, so she's going to be at least probably for pile one in this reading. So let's go ahead and move on to pile one for you beauties. All right. Okay, my lovelies, if you chose pile one, this is your pile. I'm going to put the chocolates to the side here. And remember, this is your messages from Guinevere. So what we're going to do here is we are going to do your sword spread. Now, I chose these. We chose these before, but I'm just gonna in which way we move. So we're just gonna put them out here, and then don't worry if you can't see the last one. We will make it very clear for you. So what we're gonna do is past, present, future. These are past lives that could be interpreted or incorporated into your life. And then the last three cards of what to make of everything. So And of course, Guinevere will come in with whatever she wants to say to you with fertility and love. There's going to be all sorts of essence with that too. And again, we have Lily in the corner. And let's not forget, we have a double magic oil today for magic and beauty, moving forward with creativity and love, whatever it is that you need. So let's start with this first card. We have the Lotus Flower unfoldment here. It is in reversed, but fear not. This is your present, but we have your past here. The Ace of Cups. That is a gorgeous card there. We also have the element of fire in this, and the High Priest. Wonderful. So the first thing that we're going to say here, Pile 1, for you is that in your present moment, if those of you out there are feeling as though there's not enough expansion, or you're not exactly where you want to be, or that your inner division of self, your inner authority is not being exposed or out in the world or integrated in the world the way in which you want. We can say that there's no reason whatsoever why this should be this way, insofar as we're just going to give it to you tough love. Pile 1, you're the one that's holding yourself back, because we can tell you here, to be perfectly honest with you, you are absolutely ready on a soul level. Now, some of you might be waiting until you feel as though you're more ready. Now, there's definitely a message here of vulnerability, of being out in the world the way in which you want to be seen, but also at the same time, by letting go the idea of wanting to be seen in a very specific way. The wisdom that you have and the wisdom that you carry will be seen by people who also carry the same wisdom, but also want to be at that level that you are. It's not that people are better than anybody else. That's not what we're saying at all. But really, at the end of the day, some people have wisdom and have come in with it and are working with it in that way. And they have come here to be teachers, and you're one of those people. So if you're feeling in any way that you're not measuring up in your life, the first thing we would say is, it would be a good idea to let that go and really understand what it means to you, what the outer success sort of compass in your own mind means to you, and what it is that you want to achieve in order to reflect that, and what that will look like. We're thinking that when you sit down and you actually think to yourself, what it is that I want, your heart will be that you really do want connection, and you really do want to be out there. And there's, again, no reason why you shouldn't be. So bear with us while all of this comes out. There's just a lot of emotions and a lot of feeling coming out here, and that's who you are. And a lot of you are thinking, well, I need to get that under control, right? Quote unquote. I need to get that under control before I get out there. Or integrate it into the world in the way that I want to be, or level up in the way that I want to be. And some people are feeling out there that, even when they put themselves out there, they're not seen and revered the way that they really should be for who they are. It's almost like they're sort of looked over in a way, and opportunities pass them by, and people don't see their validity. Well, first of all, we see it, and we're asking for you to see it. For those of you who have been treating yourself based on an ideology of how the external world has seen you, and how you've been treated by the external world, it's obvious that that's no longer going to work for you, but it never worked for you. You're being asked to bring in your self-confidence. Just got this vision of, it's a very strange vision actually, Victorian woman, with the corset, having to get really, really, really small, but suck it all in, everything that you absolutely are, and pull it in for yourself. This last understanding of trying to prove or being seen for your validity. Now, you've worked on that in several different ways in many, many lifetimes, and in this lifetime. And when it comes down to it, you do not actually doubt who you are. You do not actually doubt that you have the wisdom. It's almost like you're banging on the door, like, see me, see me. So the understanding is that we want you to see yourself, not wait to be all together. Go out there and incorporate the vulnerability, the sensibility, the sensitivity that you have. A lot of you are extreme empaths. That makes you brilliant at what you do, but it also makes you more susceptible sometimes in public or loud crowds or this, that, and the other. And there's nothing wrong with, there's obviously nothing wrong with your sensitivity. I have it. But there's nothing wrong with pursuing what it is that you want, but doing it from sort of behind the scenes or in and around what you want. Some of you are, as we say at home, getting your knickers in a twist just a little bit because you're not out there necessarily in the way that other extroverts are out there, or in this sort of very masculine, aggressive way, which absolutely works for some people and is absolutely wonderful. Now, when we're working with the divine masculine, the divine feminine, we need those masculine traits, the divine masculine traits, to move us forward, to listen to the intuition, to know and take that action. Now, you do have that action. The high priest is here. It's a matter of bringing in that developed side of you, the divine masculine, which you absolutely have, and pulling that in with your divine feminine, which is your wisdom, which is your accessibility. You're very accessible, which is ironic because you often keep yourself a little bit away from what's going on in the world, and you do things sort of behind closed doors in a way, or in a way that you can sort of retreat if you need to and get out when you need to. That's fine. You are just a person that needs a lot of space to be able to do whatever they want to do, and that's totally fine. I was reading somewhere the other day, I actually watched a documentary on highly sensitive people, and the woman who started the newsletter, she said, I can't remember where she said she lived in LA or something, and she came out of her house and there's too many noises, overwhelmed by everything, and she had to go back into her house, and she sat down with her husband and said, what can we do that's successful? I need to be able to get out to people, I need to be able to help people, support people, give people something, but I can't do it in the quote-unquote ordinary way. I can't do it in an office. I can't have a 9-to-5 job. I need to be able to do it on my own terms. Now, if you know, OM is a very successful, you can do many different courses through OM. They have a newsletter. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do, and she's the founder of that. So there's many different things that you can do successfully, and we're asking you to renegotiate, first of all, your level of success that you feel as though you can achieve, based on who you feel that you are, and really embrace the vulnerability, really embrace your sensitivities here, and really come to understand that there's a brilliant way for you to move forward, this path of brilliance, of light, to be able to do it on your own terms. Again, bringing in this balance. Now, we want to be clear, there's no more healing for you to do. Don't go down the rabbit hole of things that you need to learn. This is just about bringing in the abundance of the already collected wisdom that you have with the divine masculine, the divine feminine. The divine feminine will tell you, set back into your intuition. This is what we need to do. This is a great idea. The divine masculine will come in and say, this is the action that we need to take. So really let go. For those of you who are resonating with this, and for those of you who are feeling either a little bit lost or not sorry for yourself, but a little bit like, I want to be out in the world, I don't know how to do it, I keep trying to measure myself up to people who are going out in a very specific way, in a way that I don't want to do it, but I'm having doubts as to whether I can achieve what I want to do, what I want to achieve, the way that I want to do it. And the answer is absolutely yes. In fact, you can pave the way for other sensitive and empaths to do things your way too. In society, get out there, fake it till you make it, all this absolute caca. It's rubbish. I mean, if that works for you, that's great. Go be you, 2 thumbs up. But really, at the end of the day, there's no need for a facade. You can get out there and be exactly who you are. You don't have to wait for it to click in. The idea behind the, fake it till you make it is that you take those chances before you feel that you are ready. So if you extract the wisdom behind the fake it till you make it, then it becomes absolutely beautiful. That's what we want you to do. But you don't have to fake it till you make it. There's a lot of this new age stuff. There's a grain of truth in there, but then it comes up with these lump kind of fake it till you make it. And that's in and itself is kind of not going to work for you. And I also think it's complete horseshit, to be honest with you. Just do things on your own terms. It's really, that is just saying to you, just go out there and do it and something will happen. But really, we're asking you to do things on your own terms from the very beginning. and honor who you are from the very beginning, not trying to fit yourself into a world to have to fake it until people see who you are. You know, really ingest your persona, your beauty of who you are, and do it on your own terms from the beginning. But yes, we do say that grain of truth is absolutely there. You don't have to take it that far, fake it till you make it. But we do want you to get out there now. There's nothing for you to wait for. Your wisdom and your beauty is out there. So for those of you who are absolutely in line with putting yourself out there, don't really know how to do it, we're going to get you some help today, but you have the idea, you know what you're doing. The answer is yes, the time is right. Go for it. Do whatever you need to do. Now, what we're going to do is, this is past life stuff, which should help us with this. The cat, independent, healthy boundaries. Absolutely. And we've got the number 18 here. So for you, boundaries have definitely been something that you've had to learn one way or another, and sometimes you've learned sort of the hard way. So for some of you, it could be putting yourself out there that you're feeling a little bit nervous because, you know, it would be time to test those boundaries. We want to assure you that those boundaries are extremely set. Whatever it is that, we also want to remind you that whatever it is that you've been through before, you've been through it, it's done. For those of you who are bringing in and trying to assess what will happen in the future, looking into the future, being in your present by pulling in the past and say this happened before, maybe it'll happen again. No, absolutely not. So we're going to, as always, we use the session for whatever it is that we can do to help you with. If you're open and you want this, you can always say no to it. Please always listen to your intuition. We can bring in Archangel Michael now. We can cut those cords to your ties, to the ties to your past and everything that's happened to you beforehand. And specifically to outcomes that have happened beforehand when you've put yourself out there. For many of you, when you've put yourself out there, you've gone out there with a great idea, you've done this, that, and the other, and it's just not worked the way in which you've wanted to. You've come in with a bunch of other ideas or different energies that are in and around you, or you could just be out in the world and you're just really dumbed down by the energy of the world. And this is something that you've had to work on, this ideology of where you begin and somebody else starts, the energy of the world, right? 2020 could have been quite difficult for you. It is a difficult year for everybody, but it could have been really difficult for you because, as well as everything that you were going through personally, you were picking up very much on the world. You know, there was no filter there. So there was that added holding light for all of that. So this is something that you've really had to work with. This is something that you know how to do. So when you go out there now, you will have that independence. You will have those healthy boundaries. And the other thing is, it's not that you've not wanted to, you love people so much. You know, you have this absolutely gorgeous heart, Pile One, and my heart absolutely goes out to you. You see the beauty in absolutely everybody. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that that person sees the beauty in themselves, or that they're going to act or react to that beauty, or that they're going to really sort themselves out in this lifetime. But there's been a martyr element to you taking on the other person's energy in order for you to do, in order for them to get better, to be able to see what it is that you see in themselves. So you've had to come back with that independence, and it's been very difficult for you to be able to step out of that and say, you know what, that's your energy, this is my energy. It doesn't necessarily, or at some points in your life, it's not necessarily felt natural to you because you're a natural caretaker, but you've understood that you can do more for people when you put your own energy first. This is what you know, and when you do it, even if it does feel quote unquote a little unnatural, it does work out for you a little bit better. So these two things are something that you've come into this lifetime in order for you to do. There's many different reasons why you would have come in at the beginning of your life here and had to learn these boundaries. You know, in many of your past lives, you were in the thought processes of so many other thought processes that you had to work through. It was your job to take on everybody's kind of ideologies, everybody's versions of things, and make sense of it. So that's something that you've not always had a definite filter, again, where somebody else begins and you start. So it was very difficult for you in this lifetime. Now, you weren't supposed to do that in this lifetime. Ironically enough, in this lifetime, well, not really ironically, to be honest with you, in this lifetime, you're here to bring all of the wisdom that you have and integrate it into this world in the way that you want to do it, everything on your own terms. Now, for many of you, this will be wonderful because as well as wanting everything for everyone else and being completely too open, we might say, you're also quite stubborn. You have that fire in you and you do want to do things your own way. That's another aspect of your personality. So really click into that other aspect of the personality where people, I've often said to you, you're too stubborn, or even being accused of stuck in your ways. Now, we want to be really clear about that. A lot of the times you've been accused of being stuck in your ways, it's because the other person wanted something from you. And when you were really open, you're usually very happy about giving that, even if it depletes you. So you could have been exploited at certain points when people were saying, oh, you're really stubborn, you're really stuck in your ways. It's because they wanted something from you or they wanted that openness. So they didn't get what they wanted from you. So, the stubbornness aspect of self may have gotten a little bit of a negative role play with you. But that stubbornness for you actually was protection in this lifetime. That's how you said no, and continuously no to some people who did not get no. And that's for some of you who grew up in situations where they weren't exactly ideal. Your stubbornness is when you are, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. That's how you had your boundaries within and around you. So that's what you use for protection. Now, that stubbornness, when you stick to your guns, there's a reason for it. It's not really stubbornness anymore. That was your sense of protection. But now you've integrated all of that. That stubbornness, that sense of stubbornness that we call quote unquote stubbornness, is now your independence. It's moving into this independence and clear boundaries. So when you go out and do what it is that you want to do, you're no longer taking on everybody's advice, everybody's integration, everybody's energy. You're doing whatever it is that you want to do. Now, we would be silly if we didn't acknowledge, even though this is a timeless reading, that the world is changing starting at the end of 2019, 2020. Systems are rocking, they're crumbling at their core. So this is the time for you to rise up and be able to do things on your own terms without having to take on the ideology of how other people did it. Again, no disrespect to anybody else is doing it any way that they want to. When we say aggressive too, we want to be really clear about that. We're not saying you will do this and they're ramming it down people's throats, although it may feel that way to you. It's a head-on sort of collision of marketing. It's a head-on collision of being out there, which is truly wonderful and you admire, but it may not be for you. That's all it is. So we're talking about this aggressive way of doing things. It's actually not aggressive. It's a very fiery way of doing things, but the way in which you want to do things could be very, very different. And we want you to honor the way in which you are doing things. The world is set up for people like you to be able to go out there and show your vulnerability and do things in a really magnetic sort of format, which is absolutely gorgeous. And also not compromise in any way, shape, or form exactly who you are. You're also going to be, there's this emphasis on, social media, and there has been for many, many years now. And while social media is kind of important because it's a way for us to connect and get the news, it's also a way that's become quite toxic. So you will be using the internet, you will be using those connections, those social media connections in brand new, interesting ways to connect, but really sort of highlight the toxicity of it and really sort of work with this in a brand new way. It'll be really, really exciting for you. So again, this is really a reading for you for this creativity and being out in the world the way in which that you want to be. This is mainly for people coming into a business or stepping up to the next version of themselves in this lifetime. Let's see what we have here. We have 3 more here. So let's see what we have here. We have morning, the world awaits you. Absolutely. And number 40 over there. We're just going to do these and then creative writing. Archangel Gabriel, make time to write down your thoughts in a journal or pen, article, or book. Again, creativity, getting your stuff out there. A mural. Be your own first priority. That's exactly what we said. So let's go through these a little bit more. So these are for creative projects. Now, for those of you who are writers or for those of you who are artists, For those of you who are very good at what you do, we want to express that whatever it is that you're writing is very, very important, needs to be integrated into the world. Absolutely. For those of you who are worried or having doubts or at the stage where they're about to put out their work and they're saying, I don't know how to do this, or if you're at the marketing stage or whatever it is, wherever it is that you're at this sort of precipice where you're either ready to start writing something, but you don't know whether it'll be worth it or whether the world needs it, or you finished writing it and now you have doubts. I think it's a fair, of course I'm paraphrasing, but there's a famous quote from David Bowie, and he says about the creative process, if it doesn't scare the living light out of you, if it doesn't scare you, then it's not worth doing. So it's like you haven't delved deep enough. So if you have a little bit of nervousness about moving forward with your creative idea, no matter what stage you're at, we're telling you right now, the world needs it, absolutely. We're also asking you, because you can be in your head a lot, Pile One, we're also asking you to let go of all of that and let your angels and guides come in and just trust that when you finish this and when you're doing this, there's a, excuse me, there's a stage and there's many different energies that are working for you to put this out there, and it's time to let go and put it out there and integrate into the world the way in which it's going to integrate into the world. There's no more control over it. You know, when we're writing, there's a semblance of control. When you're actually writing or when you're being creative, there's no real control. The whole essence is that everything's coming out, but we do have this semblance of control because we're controlling, we're putting it down, and then, you know, we're in this little world that we're controlling, and not controlling, but we're creating this beautiful stuff, whatever it is that we're working on. Of course, when it goes out to the world, we're no longer in control of it. How are people going to take it? What's going to happen? If you're at that stage, the world needs it. Let it go. And trying to presume or enact a sort of an outcome is not going to help you in any way. We just want to remind you that, you know, the world does await you. Whatever it is that you're here to do, whatever wisdom you have, it's ready to be integrated into the world. You came here to integrate this wisdom into the world in your own way, on your own terms, free from your past, moving forward. Now, you've been working on making, be your own first priority. So we want to remind you that's what you're doing. Remember to have your independence and your boundaries. Now, they may be tested as you put yourself out there. And we also want to remind you to be, you can be so hard on yourself, Pile One. We want to remind you not to be hard on yourself. You're doing this for the first time. Now, the people who have been out there and have been, you know, following this format to success, and of course they're successful, and that's wonderful. It's a tried and true formatting of moving forward. You're doing something that's, when you're putting yourself out there, you kind of, you know, you're veering off, you're doing this, and you know, you're doing this a very different way. So please don't be hard on yourself, and don't compare yourself to anyone at all, but don't compare yourself specifically to people who are doing things in the conventional manner. Again, that works to them. 2 thumbs up to them. Well done. That's not the way that you're going to be able to do this, or not the way that you want to be able to do this. You've tried to do it the tried and tested way, of the sort of the road most traveled. Everything that you've done that's been successful has been either at a whim or the road less traveled. So we're asking you to really develop that, sit with it, have confidence in it. Don't you dare compare yourself to people who are doing things the conventional way. That's great for them. You will find a way. Work with your guides. Remember, have trust. Stay in the alignment versus the control factor. You have enough wisdom to be able to do whatever it is you need to do. The time is right. And we also know the world is awaiting you. So regardless of what stage that you are at with any kind of, we're calling it fertility, whether that's creativity, whether that's making life, whether that's putting yourself to the next stage, whether that's putting yourself out for love, all of what we've said could be applied to any of that. So we just want you to know that you're exactly where you need to be, insofar as you're about to take off and you're ready for this. So if hopefully we've alleviated some of those doubts, and remember, work with Archangel Michael. Archangel Gabriel is working for these brilliant ideas that you've been getting. So this is a timeless reading, but we are still coming into the end of Mercury in retrograde here. So all these beautiful ideas that a lot of you have been having in Mercury in retrograde, they're getting ready to be, you can integrate them into the world and get yourself out there. So you have some time to really allow yourself some space and time. And Pile 1, you need a lot of space and time to rejuvenate and figure out who it is that you are. You're always going to be that way. You were before, you will again. That's totally fine. You don't need to be, go, go, go. There's a way to align, relax, and still get what it is that you want. Working on money manifestations too, really delving deep about how you feel about money and success would be good for you at this point. There's not much work to be done there, but there might be a few little things. For instance, for some of you, money needs to be worked hard for, or if it comes in, we need to savor it because it may not come in again, the scarcity of it. So we're asking you to look through those. Some of them are ready to go because they actually came in from your bloodline. You've been working on your bloodline. So it'll be easy to integrate and release those once and for all, and then work with this money manifestation. Very easy to pull in money into your life when you need it, once you have no resistance to it. No resistance to it whatsoever. So we sincerely hope, Pile 1, that this resonated with you and that we gave you a little bit of hope and a little bit, at the very least, support. So if this did resonate, feel free to give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments below. And of course, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you can come and hang out with us at Unicorn Light Tarot some more. We have many other things. We also have Unicorn Therapy for free that you can sign up for in this channel, which is meditations, activations, and healing. You can also do a 5-day course for free, Intuition and the Oracle, which is really fun. Not just about Oracle, but getting in touch and working with your intuition. And of course, if you missed the intro, naughty, naughty you, we have this beautiful book from Witch Way magazine, Witch Way's Book of 100 Love Spells. I am in here, as well as other wonderful witches in the community. So we urge you to pre-order this book at Amazon. The links are down below. And of course, we have the Unicorn School of Light too. Lots of other ways to stay with this energy, in support, and whatever it is that you need at any time. We are sending so much love, luck, and beauty to you, Pile 1. Until we meet again, stay safe and sane. Okay, welcome, Pile 2. If you chose the 2 beautiful roses here together, this is your reading. So this is your reading from Guinevere. So we're really diving deep, at least we did in Pile 1. It's about what it is that you want using your true magic in the world, and how to develop on your own terms, being true to you. And let's not forget that we have our double magic oil today. We have the clove and sesame for bright and purity, and I don't really like that word, protection and gorgeousness, and we have creativity and fertility, and we also have and deep healing with the other source here too. We have 2 healing oils on this, and we have Lily's butt, which is always a great thing. So we're going to be doing what I call the Lady of the Lake, the sword here. The sword spread. Mercury in retrograde is definitely layering one on in my mind here. We're trying to talk and make sense. So the way in which we're doing this is past, present, and future. Then we have down here, we also have sort of past lives, and then we're taking this on for other messages to back up what's coming up here. And don't worry, we will definitely bring this all in. You'll be able to see all of the cards as we move through them. So let's move on with messages from the goddess Guinevere. So your present here is communication and eagle. So let's have that. And then we have the past here with the Prince of Wands. Wonderful. And your future here with the Princess of Swords. So communication for you, Pile 2, again, getting to the real crux of who you are and communicating clearly and being seen for who you are. And that way you have something in common with Pile 1. But also this understanding of sort of standing back and really letting, let me just turn this a little bit here so we can, excuse me for the camera. there's an element of you standing back and really understanding sort of the world, like you're an observer also. There's a beauty. So a lot of you could be writers or artists, or even working within the science measure, where you're there to report on how other people sort of, not necessarily for some of you if you're creative, treat each other, but the understanding that you're an observer. You sort of observe, but you do it in such an interesting way, and it's very vibrant and it's very needed. So for those of you who, like, for your journals, for instance, for those of you who journal, it could actually be a book for some, for others to actually help. It could be an instructional booklet. I mean, the way in which you see the world and what you see and how you interpret that information is absolutely beautiful. You're sort of, and in some other lives, let's see where this comes into it, but you could have been a scribe too. And in sometimes in your life, one way or another, now you don't like doing this, so you probably, 9 times out of 10, this is probably not something that you actually do in this lifetime. If you do, you're probably not 100% with it. But at certain points in your life, you probably had a job where part of your job was to write things down, to scribe for meetings or things like that, where you had to take notes, and very specific notes. This is something that you've definitely done in past lives before. You know how to observe, you know how to put things down, you know how to do and take in the relevant information. And there is a certain amount of pleasure and beauty that you gain from that if you do it on your own terms. Now, this is what you are here to do. You're here to bring what we call, the sword of truth here, the Princess of Swords. You're here to do that. You're not going to wrap it up in a way that what you're going to do is, there's so many different versions of truth. There's so, and we've seen that particularly in 2020, where people were predicting this and doing that. So many truths, and some of those truths had an agenda. Some people, it didn't mean that people didn't believe it. And the one thing that we can say about truth, that all truths exist. There are many different truths one way or another, but there's also a truth that leads back to the understanding that there are many different ways to do things. There's many different ways to see things. And that, as we can say, is probably the most finite sense of the word truth that we can get. And this is what you're here to do. Now, what you do, and you do it beautifully, is that you can take a very complicated situation. You can take something that usually, people don't touch, like political or, situations that, hot topics, big triggerings for others in society. And you can bring it in a certain way, and bring in and sort of fold in many different points of view. And from that, there are many different points of view of the truth, and then you can present it to the public. Now, there'll always be people who are triggered by it one way or another, because you're actually getting to the crux of the situation, and that will in itself be triggering. But what you're saying won't necessarily be triggering. The fact that you're willing to say something on the subject matter will be the triggering factor. But this is what you're here to do, and this is what you do very well. Now, whether you're the sort of quote unquote the peacekeeper in your group, in your friendship group, if this is something that you do at work, if you work in a division of HR, or if what you do is bringing in this level of observation and integrating into your art, or if you integrate it, if you're in the medical field, whatever it is that you do, you're on the cutting edge of bringing in sort of multiple different versions of things, to bring it in up for discussion and to put it out there. Now, it's almost like there's this vision, it's kind of funny, almost like you sort of bring everything out, bring everything in, and then sort of present it. And then there could be like a little bit of a shit fire, pardon my French, where, triggering, people are doing this, da, 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 and then you walk away from that. And that's okay. There's a trickster energy to you. You're here to bring that energy for people to bring it up, for people to look through, to decipher, to get through. And again, if people are triggered by it, whatever, that's totally up to them. And people may be initially triggered by it and then thankful as they read through it. And some people would just be, and again, those people are initially triggered by the thought behind it, not necessarily by the work. And that was always going to be the way. But You're definitely here to bring in sort of a new paradigm of thinking, a new paradigm of knowing. There are people in this lifetime that will back you as you do that. You're not here to do things in any way of the conventional way, if anything, what you're here to do. And in this way, there's very different energy to Pal 1, but in many ways, this relates to Pal 1 too. You're here to really shine a light on what doesn't work from the way that we were doing things before and how it could work to represent the all for others. So, a part of what you do will be giving others a voice and a license to be themselves too. Now, this is very, very important work. Some of this work has felt like it's been in an echo chamber. It's like, anybody there, there, that sort of thing. But we want to remind you and you have the fire to be able to do this. And some of that fire is fired off in different ways. And sometimes you've used it against yourself because you've gone down a path and, you've done it out of frustration because you've tried to push forward with this. Because there's an element of you that's incredibly patient, and there's an element of you that does not know when to wait. It's like the most impatient part of you. You are the most impatient person in the world. Like, you'll send out an email and like 30 seconds, say, why didn't this bugger get back to me, this, that, and the other. Although you don't expect people to drop everything and get him back. It's not that, it's not this insecurity of why aren't they getting back to me? It's like, I want to move this forward. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. It's that kind of energy. There's no insecurity. Well, they don't like me. It's not that. It's just you've got this fire, this kinetic energy of moving forward, keeping everything going and going, going, going. And it's really, really beautiful. But at the same time, you also know there's an element of you that needs to step back, let this happen, divine timing. Again, the echo chamber, standing tall in who you are and just allowing things to fall into place. So let's go into this past, the mystery gorgeousness. So here we have, these are representative of your past lives. It could be past experiences. This is your past experiences here, and a little bit of remnants here of your past life, of knowing that there is a mystery to this life and really pulling you back into the magic and the mystery that is you, and really understanding that that the communication is there. You know how to communicate, but you're about to level up in this communication where you've kept yourself small, Pal 2, and you've done that on purpose because there was a divine timing aspect to who you are. The world wasn't really necessarily ready for who you are. Well, not necessarily who you are, but how you project yourself into the world and what you had to say. In many times, and this is not the first lifetime, Pal 2, you have been way ahead, way ahead, way ahead of the systems of government, of the way people see things, and there's been a little remnants of that as you were growing up. You'd say things, I mean, well, that's a little weird, and some people find you fascinating, but some people would actually quite be intimidated by you. But you have this power of knowing, but a lot of what you do and a lot of what you say, again, is has been sort of, it seems like, out of context. So for those of you who felt as though you spent a good portion of your life, on the outside looking in, but not fully integrated and trying to integrate yourself, and sometimes you were able to do it quite successfully. Some of you may have even used alcohol to do it, or, had some help to be able to do it. The point is that, there needed to be something else as a buffer because you didn't feel completely comfortable doing things because, there was an outsider element to you. Now you're coming into this new world. Everything of the old is really crumbling, but there's a divine timing aspect to this echo chamber that you recently, or that you felt growing up, that you were in. Your ideas are needed and they're wanted, and they were always wanted and needed. It's just that because of the way that you kept yourself safe, which is totally understandable, by the way, in the past, you never really met those people. There's certain groups of people that you have, but you didn't always have them integrated completely into your life. Now, you've had great people in your life here, there, and the other. The universe and your guides and even your ancestors have made sure that you've been surrounded by people who would level up and keep you afloat. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been here that long. But you were definitely here for an absolute purpose, one way or another. And the biggest thing that's coming in from Guinevere here is your soul tribe coming in. I don't know if I like the word tribe necessarily. I feel like that's kind of disrespectful. I don't know, it feels like it's appropriating. But again, we all came from tribes one way or another, Celtic tribes from European tribes. So I guess it's not, but for some reason it doesn't fit with me, but we're going to use it here because it came up. That's the word that was given to me. And of course, Guinevere from that time period of the Celts would have been tribes. So, you know, coming into your actual tribe here, we're just going to push the word. Coming into your tribe is what you absolutely need, and what, you know, people in and around you. You've had different groups of people, like friendships, this, that, and that, but you want a group around you that on a physical level, a metaphysical level, spiritual level, they're in and around you that get you. And also on a vocational level, you know, not just creativity, people that you can work with. So you've had this sort of a sense of stability, even though it's sort of it's been off in different directions, and that could have been quite problematic for you in one way or another. But there's a great tribe that's coming to you. There's people that's coming in and around you that also hold the same truth. Now those people will be in and around you as you move yourself and integrate yourself into the beauty of the world. Now a lot of you can be occultists, bringing back the old sort of beauty and the magic. And I don't mean in this new age stuff, you know, the new age stuff is really just bringing out the ancient stuff. But as we talked about in pile 1, the new age stuff has gotten a little foo-foo. They've taken this beautiful grain of wisdom, and they've turned it into this sort of like this real foo-foo kind of like flighty, problematic sort of, that's what the new age thing has done, in many ways, shape or form. I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not a huge component. I don't really follow it myself. I don't even like the term new age, you know, and I had a problem with the word spirituality throughout 2020. I was like so disillusioned by it. I was like, I'm done with the word spirituality. I don't know where that's gone or how that's gone in this direction. But that's what you're here to do. You're here to solidify all of the ancient stuff without the woo-woo stuff, everything that really works, and bring that real intense power and magic back. It's very powerful, especially when we work within ourselves and we really understand the core of who we are. I saw this photo the other day and I thought it's absolutely beautiful, and it really works here because we have this tree of life in the background. When we see our veins here and we put it next to a leaf, we see that the leaf is exactly the same as our veins. And the quote is, we're not of the world, we are the world. And that's the difference between New Age, being of the world and being part of it, you know. So you're going to be getting deeper. You're going to be bringing in your wisdom at a really deep level, and bringing in that ancient wisdom that we desperately need, but not sugarcoating it or putting it off in different directions where it just, we're not getting to the crux of the magic and the power. You're going to bring it back the way in which it needs to be brought back. And you're going to do it in a really, really simple but powerful way. So we could say that you're going to bring the mystery back into the powerful essence of magic, but at the same time, you're going to uncover it and give it a name, give it a face, tell people how to do this without all this fake it till you make it stuff, which also came up in pile 1. You know, incidentally, if you're called to, always listen to your intuition, but you might, pile 2, want to check out pile 1. The energy is slightly different, but there might be some extra messages in there for you if you feel called to go back and do that. We always say, even though that each pile is different, you know, we are at the time, even if it's a timeless reading, we are reading from the collective energy on that day, where we are, what we're doing, and of course tapping into Guinevere here with whatever goddess that we're working with. So there is a collective energy component in all of these readings, so it's not strange in any way that they should overlap in some ways, but you might be able to get something from pile 1. So let's go into these two. Homeward, take yourself out on a date, we have. And gifts from God, Archangel Sandalphon. We angels bring you gifts from your creator. Open your arms to receive. And then we have this one too, stars. You can manifest your every wish. Now we have no doubt here that you can manifest your every wish here, the Princess of Swords. You have the Sword of Truth. Now you have that divine feminine energy coming in, and you're here as the princess energy to bring that truth in and pull it in and make it sort of not palpable. I feel as though that's what the New Age movement did. Dumb everything down and make everything palpable. You'll be making it palpable in a different way by telling everybody. It's like, I keep getting this vision of and I'm not saying anything about, I've never had a child and I would never talk to anybody how they speak to their children, but there's been this development stuff where people speak to kids like baby talk, like little baby talk. And they say that if you talk to your children like normally, they, there's a certain kind of development with education and language. And I know people who talk to their kids, even babies, like normally, and they talk to their animals like, with baby talk. So, what we want to say here for the Princess of Swords, you're reaching for the Queen of Swords, but you're already the Queen of Swords there. Your essence of truth and communication and getting to the wisdom of everything is really, it's not dumbing anything down. You have this plain language of what you're saying. You're bringing that magic back. But you also have this softness and this gorgeousness and this way of doing it where you're sort of on the edge. You're giving space for people to have their own reactions. You're giving space for people to be who they are. And this is something that we've not always had, in the past, the last couple of 100 years, even 1,000 years with religion. It's like, you will do it this way. This is the way that it is, or you will be killed. You are doing it in a way where you're bringing the truth and then allowing people to have their reactions to it. So this is the beginning essence of it. And you've learned how to do that in this lifetime. So for those of you who are like, oh yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of a hermit, I'm kind of a loner, kind of do things my own way, I don't know if I'm suited to that. This is exactly the sort of person that needs to bring in this energy without a doubt. And also you brought in this wisdom with you, very similar again to Power One. You brought this wisdom with you. And yes, you do know how to be on your own. You are very good at being on your own. And whether you like it or not, it's something that you've needed to do because you need a lot of downtime in order to recover. The world exhausts you. But what you don't do really is you don't really allow yourself that time to just have fun. Even in your downtime, I want to finish this book, I want to do this, I want to do that. Really allow yourself to just be and not have a plan. Like Power One, but again in different ways. There's two different aspects to you. With Power One, it was the stubbornness and the not stubbornness. With you, it's like you can be absolute free for all. Let's just see what happens, like really flexible and out there. And then the other side of you is you plan to a T. Everything needs to be planned down to the last minute of I've got 10 minutes here. What can I fit in 10 minutes? What can I get done? So we're asking for you to take yourself out on a date, which means that give yourself some time to really go out there and do things that aren't planned, because this is where all of the energy comes in. Sometimes when you get certain blocks, you actually have several, many different windows in your mind's eye and in your third eye. You're never out of ideas. Now, if you're actually stuck or you feel as though you're out of ideas, Pal 2, all it is that you're taking in too much information and you haven't freed your mind to let all this information to come in and start triggering and firing, or we should say firing in. And to lead you on to the next thing. So it's not that you ever have writer's block, ever. It's just, it's your mind seizes sometimes, and that's your indication that you need to go out and do something that's not planned, something away from absolutely everything, and put down the things to tick off, put down your list. That's not what we want you to do. We want you to get out there and live, and this is what this reading is really truly about, getting back to the core of who you are, integrating yourself the way you want to be, and bringing this truth and really living your life the way that you want to. You haven't really clicked into the way in which you live your life. You absolutely a happy person one way or another. We're not saying that, but you didn't always feel as though you were doing everything that you could be, or you were holding yourself back. This is the way that you integrate yourself in every way, shape, or form into the world, and really feel as though you're 100% there, 100% who you should be, 100% on your path and doing exactly what you want to be and not holding yourself back. And you can manifest your every wish, everything that you want to do. And again, you should probably check in with Power One if you feel called to. If you're comparing yourself to conventional measures of how other people got there, it's not going to work for you. You know, there's a different way that you're going to be working in this world. And again, it's going to light up a path for other people to do the same. You're going to use this sense of mystery, this sense of communication, and take things back old school. That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to go taking back old school, but make it new and make it fresh, and really sort of elicit this beautiful light in people. So whether you're an artist or whatever it is that you do, any kind of creativity, and again, communicating, especially with words, you know, your truth is really there. You hold resonance for people. You really allow people to be who they are. And you question everything, which is absolutely wonderful. When somebody tells you something, you know, this is truth, this is the way we do it. I don't know about that. And that's okay. You'll smile. There's not a judgment there. That doesn't need to be. Everybody has their own sense of truth, right? And sometimes it just isn't true. And that's okay. It's true for them. You're not here to save people. You're here to sort of shine the light, and whoever is attracted to the light and wants to do the work, that's what you're here for. Not everybody is, and that's totally fine. It takes so many different people in this lifetime to be in and around, to have a creative, chaotic, beautiful, gorgeous life, to be human. To be, you know, fallible, to we're not here to be perfect, we're here to be messy. So trying to be here and trying to be perfect is, you're missing the point. You know, you're totally missing the point. So that's what you're here to do. You're here to sort of envelop people in the messiness, in the beauty, and work with your alchemists, work within the chaotic energy and bring out some kind of beauty. But the main thing that you're here to do is to teach people how to really extract the truth for themselves and be themselves. And because you're always on the other side, sort of looking in, you know how to give people space to be who themselves. You also know how to give people space so they give themselves space long enough to hang themselves, show you who they are pretty much straight away, which could frustrate people in the past. You could have had that, you know, and they blamed you. What did you do to me? But actually, all you did is you're a mirror. You reflected exactly who they are, and you didn't interrupt that. They didn't like that, you know. But really, the people that's coming in and around you right now, so the fertility and the creativity and the love that's coming in, is really around people coming in to support you in every area of your life, and people who are going to be physically around you. Again, you've had droplets of people all the way around you to keep you there. And if you look at your phone, there's definitely people that you can call who would be there. And that's not what we're saying. But these are a new group of people coming in, and it's going to be very exciting. It's definitely going to be sort of not business, but it's going to be like career oriented too. But they have the same relationship with the occult, the relationship with mystery. Some people get really nervous about the word occult. Personally, it doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, then we'll use the word mystery, because that's all it is. It's something that's not easily explained. Although these days I feel as though we can explain it more and more. But the mystery of life, getting back to that, integrating that mystery back into your world and getting out there and doing things on your own terms. Remember not to compare yourself to people who are doing things a little bit more conventionally or on their own terms. That's their path and it works for them, and 2 thumbs up for them, but it's not going to work for you. Your whole thing is taking that sort of introverted, beautiful, sensitive side of who you are, that observer in you, that beauty, that mystery. You also are fearless in the way in which you sort of go at what you want in many ways. So, you know, it may be seen, you know, where did this person come from? But you do work. You work very hard. You just don't work very hard in the same way. I mean, you don't work sort of in the limelight doing things, but your time is coming for that to come in and take your lessons, what you know, to the next level here. So let's see. I'm feeling for you one more. I brought out the star seeds too. We just want to do one more for Guinevere here. But yeah, the way in which you work with your own truth is absolutely beautiful in this lifetime and is really needed. And again, the divine element, you know, the time is right for you to do this for sure. Okay, Gaia, connect to the pulse of Mother Earth. She will guide you through this time of change. It definitely is a time for change for you. It's definitely about bringing all of that knowledge that you have and putting it out into the world the way in which you would like, without compromising anything or anyone that you believe in. And that's something that you've done, compromised constantly. I think I should be doing it this way. Maybe I should be doing it that way. This is for you to come into your sense of power and to shine sort of completely unaided, just the way that you are, and not compromise in any way, shape, or form. In many ways, and we hope you don't take any kind of offense to this. In many ways, your journey has just begun, pal. Too, in many ways, you've just sort of finished a life, but you're still here to live. But you're about to start a brand new life, and everything that you did before is incredibly important. But it could have been quite painful and fearless, and took a lot of courage, and a lot of going through the same sort of things and figuring things out. This is a brand new beginning for you, where you get to take all of that wisdom and integrate it in a brand new way on your own terms. There's a sense of ease, there's a sense of trust, there's a sense of light and beauty, and also this need to kind of prove yourself has really fallen away. So this is a very exciting time for you, to work with your guides and to work with your ancient magic, and not just bring it to the world, but to allow it to work for you. This is a wonderful time for you. So we hope this resonated with you, Pal 2. That's what we have for you. And again, if you feel called to, go back and check out Pal 1. And if it did resonate, feel free to give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And of course, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. Come and join us at Unicorn Light Tarot. And if you were not there for the intro, do not forget that we have the 100 love spells from Which Way magazine. Which Way has done this beautiful book. I am featured in it, as well as many of the other beautiful witches who still work and celebrate and are part of Which Way magazine. So definitely go ahead and pre-order that. The links will be down below, and there's many different ways to work too with the Unicorn School of Light. We have Unicorn Therapy that you can sign up for free on this channel, and we also have Intuition and the Oracle, also free on this channel. Millions of reasons, well, 3 for now, but lots of different reasons for you to subscribe. We would love to have you. So Pal 2, go be you, shine your light in your own way, and bring back that badass wisdom in a new and lighted way that we absolutely need, without the foo-foo stuff. We need you. All right, Pal 2, stay safe and sane until we meet again. Okay, my darlings, for those of you who chose Pal 3, these are your 3 roses. Let's not forget, we are getting some gorgeous messages from Guinevere. It's really about using your own magic and the love of who you are. That's what we've gotten for Pal 1 and 2. We shall see what comes up for you. We've got our Lily in the back, just making herself comfortable. And do not forget that we have double magic oil on our candle today. We have the clove and the sesame oil too, for a little bit of extra vavoom. And we will be using what I call the sword, the Lady of the Lake sword spread today. So we have past, present, and future. And then we're going to do a don't worry, we'll bring all the cards so you'll be able to see them clearly. Past life stuff, and then we have some other oracles to give us some more blessings here and some more interesting insight. So let's start right now. So with your present, you have crystals and focus, and we're going to unleash your past here. And then we have the 10 of Cups. Wonderful. And then your future here. King of Pentacles. Wonderful. So the first thing that we have for you to say, Pal 3, is excellent, excellent, excellent. Stay on the focus. You are really, really learning to focus on not just your needs, but how to make your needs, how to have a clear focus out in the world, and to create this destiny that you want with a clear path. You're learning how to do this. It's not mind control per se, but part of what you're learning to do is to really work from the essence of love and gratitude in a way that's really beautiful. Now, you've always been able to do this. sort of integrate this into how you are. But this is the way that you're doing this constantly when you work your magic now. You're also at a brand new phase in your life, which is very exciting, where you're no longer reflecting into your past, or if you do, you're able to really steadfast and come back from that and go, all right, yes, it didn't work out in my past when I did it, but when I did it in my past that way, I had completely different energy around what was going on. So of course I had different circumstances. So you're able to keep your frequency high when you put yourself out there, and to get to the next level of where you're going. Now, part of that is to really understand what it is that you truly want. You've really spent a lot of time. Now, there's been an element of this throughout your life, but you've really been working on this steadfast about what it is that you want versus what it is that you've led yourself to believe that you could get or achieve, or in any case, it's a case of settling what you think you can get versus what it is that you actually wanted. And then the other thing that you do to pile 3 is that if you want something big, the other thing that you do is that you convince yourself that if you do want it, that you don't really want it, and that it wouldn't really be good for you. All right, well, I do want this, and it's kind of huge. And if I did get it, I'd probably be really like this, that, and the other. Maybe it wouldn't be so good for me, but you can have your cake and eat it, as they say. You can be out there in the mind's eye, sort of in the public eye, and still be very much sort of not a loner necessarily, but still have time to yourself and still not feel overwhelmed by your position in whatever it is that you're doing and the position that you hold in society. So there's a way for you to achieve exactly what you want and still have it work for you. So the overarching element to this is that you no longer need to compromise in any way, shape, or form, and you figured this out. And this is absolutely huge. So when you have this sort of brand new beginning, when you put yourself out there and say, yes, you know what, I do want this, I do deserve this, and I can get it. You're no longer trying to see what it looks like, whereas before you tried to see what it looked like and then it would disappoint because you were seeing it from a perspective of even if it works out, I don't know if I'll really like it. Now you're able to really put yourself out there and say, however it works out, I know it will be in my best interest, but I can still have what I want. So this is element of real release for you, in an alignment versus trying to control the outcome. Now, before, when you try to control things or try to see how things were going to work out, that was totally understandable. We want to be clear about that. You were protecting yourself. You were protecting yourself from your wishes and your dreams, and there was a part of you that felt a little bit naughty. I do really want this big thing, but maybe I shouldn't. You've gotten out of that and you've grown out of that, so that's great. So there was a reason why you protected yourself with that control of what it, constantly trying to figure out what things will look like, how I would be able to handle it. And sometimes, your energy wasn't fully behind it because, you thought that you wouldn't be able to handle it. So maybe I shouldn't go for that. You are really good at putting yourself out there and then talking yourself out of every level of everything that you do, putting yourself out there, talking, so this is something that you've known about yourself. And you've also had to really come into how sensitive you are and really come into that ideology of knowing who you are and standing in that blaze and glory and say, F you, if you don't get me, I don't care. And this was really important for you to say. The F you is really important because some people can be more subtle about it, but you really needed to get into those shoes and go, this is who I am. And that's really important energy for you. Not everybody needs to do it that way, but you do, because you've spent so long, in some ways you cared so much what other people thought of you. In some ways you didn't at all. You had this weird dichotomy of that. Felt as though you should take on everybody else's opinions of yourself, but you didn't really believe them at the same time, but you allowed it in and it made you miserable. So this is a real brand new beginning for you where you get to stand in your own authority and you're just not bothered at all. Now, that's not to say that every now and again, if somebody comes at you, this, that, and the other, doesn't bother you. Of course it does. And some of these situations can come up for you to look at yourself and go, all right, there's still something that I need to look at. And it's never about that actual person that, whatever, if you're triggered at, you have the chance but some of it is just, you triggering other people and them coming in and you going, you know what, I'm not doing this energy. I'm just going to cut it out. This has got nothing to do with me. This is something you got to figure out on your own, and I'm done. And this is something that you are able to do really quickly and easily now, where it would have taken you a couple of days, whether, should I take this energy on? Is it something that I'm supposed to be learning? Or is it just this person or this, that, and the other? You know it now. You can cut it down to the ground. All right, I'm triggered by this, got nothing to do with this person. I know where this is living in me now. Let me go figure this out. But I'm going to cut this person off too, because they don't need to be there. And being really sort of vigilant about the energy that you let in. And sometimes you're sad about having to let some of that energy go, or some of those people go in the past. Even in the sort of the near past, whatever's happened that's been quite near to you, in time space. Well, Mercury in retrograde is really doing a bit of a number. When you channel, you can kind of, I can be pretty clear, but sometimes I step over my words. But you add on Mercury retrograde on top of that, and it's just been 2 thumbs up situation here, but I'm trying to be as clear as possible with the crystals and focus. Maybe this reading is for me. So it's really about you getting back to who you are, and sort of knowing instinctively when things come up, the energy comes up, what category to place them in. This is what I need to do. Nope, gone. And and sometimes you've had to clear out your life recently. A lot of you have had to clear out your life, and some of that you've been like not trying to hang on to it, but it's been up and down with the sad and the good moments. Some of you have been like, I wish I didn't have to do this, but I do, and I do. And there were other reasons why. Again, the trigger from that other person. You did the right thing. You sort of cut them out, but at the same time, you were still missing that person. You need to figure out why. But that's all gone now. You come out on the other side of that. All of those lessons have been learned. A lot of those people were in your life because they were mirroring other factors, of course, that you needed to heal. And some of them went back to family relationships. But this is something that you've definitely healed. And not only have you healed it, when you come out on the other side of it, what you do is you really get to extract the wisdom. You get to stand in your own sense of truth, and you get to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take that. I'm not taking that energy. And sometimes the beauty of where you are is that you can just say it to the universe. You don't have to say it to the person or the situation. You're saying it to yourself. You're saying it to the universe. What you're doing is you're creating your actual visual, an actual word in actuality every single minute of your day by choosing with this clear focus, with you in mind, knowing that you deserve better. And that's something that you've not always done. You've taken in other factors, but maybe that's what I could do for now, or this, that, and the other, or, maybe I'll look at that next week, or whatever it is that you either made an excuse or settled for one way or another. You're not doing any of that anymore. So you're really enacting this beautiful sense of who you are and creating your vision from sitting on your couch in your living room. That's not to say that you're full of action. When you're ready for action, you know what you're doing, but you also know that the action that you've taken before in your life, you're fiery. You've got that divine masculine. It knows when to go off, but sometimes it's gone off in all different directions, and you've spent a lot of time and energy. You've not gotten the results back. So you now know instinctively that it's the energy and it's the focus behind the intention that really puts you out there. The actual action, unless it's divinely inspired and you have space for it and you know that you are worthy of what it can bring you, you know that all of that has to come in sort of what we call the Holy Trinity. Just doing action without the inspired understanding of who you are, for the sake of action and being out there and doing something, even though you believed it would be the right thing. There's nothing insidious of, you want to be out there, you're doing the right thing. You do understand that your action would be great for the world, but you really do have to understand, and you do understand now, that it comes to the fact that you're in an authority to tell it. You're an authority figure to be able to be out there. You trust in your wisdom, you trust in who you are, and you trust that your wisdom can take you to where you need to be. You've also done a lot recently on how you see splendor, money, and beauty. And I'm going to say this, a lot of people that come from the spiritual aspect of things have this kind of really weird thing with money, and it's totally understandable. And also, money is strange insofar as a lot of people do really strange things for money, and hurtful and dangerous and violent things. All that essence, all of that energy is in and around that energy of money. When we click into the energy of money, it's not this floating symbol of, yeah, you can just bring it into your life. You can. You have to make allowances for how you feel about it. You have to understand how you feel about it, and you have to make you have to be in alignment, not just with money, but with what it represents too. It does some bad stuff in the world, right? It funds some bad people, not bad people. It's done some really shitty things in the world, right? So here's the thing. What you've done is that you're really good at this. And this is what you do now. You take the good and the bad and you just say, this is what it is. You accept it for what it is. I know it's done bad things in the world. I absolutely do. And I know there's energy around that. But it's okay for me to want it, because when it comes into my life and I have an abundance of it, you know what? I'm going to have a great life, and I'm going to make sure that the people around me are looked after. They're going to have a great life. I'm going to fund people who want to do great things with money, and great things are done with money. Great things are done with money, and I want more great things in the world to be done with money. I do accept that money has a little bit of a different kind of legacy, and I accept that. That's okay. And in the spiritual community, some people either they can actually see money as being dirty or nasty, or we shouldn't want it. We should want not to want it at all, or they have this, I'm not worthy of it, or this, that, and the other. Or it's beneath me. It's this, that, and the other. All sorts of different things. You've really come into your own and knowing exactly what money is. Yes, it's got some negativity around it one way or another, but there's positivity to it too. Everything has its opposite. We don't have to live in polarity. We don't have to say money is bad, money is this, that, and the other. So you've made your peace with that. You've made your peace with polarity in all aspects of your life. You do understand that there's a light and a dark. We also understand there's various different degrees of everything. Wrong or right are exactly the same. It's just a different degree. Hot and cold are exactly the same. They're exactly the same on a ladder of temperature. It's just a matter of where you are on that ladder of reading the temperature. Are exactly the same. Political parties are exactly the same. They're one extreme of the other. They're exactly the same. It's just wherever you are in the middle of it, So this is what you've realized, and you've really realized this when it comes to money. And that's really changed your outlook of what you believe you can get, and being able to put your energy out there and really clicking into this energy of, you know what, I'm going for it because I can do some pretty amazing things with it. I'm not going to tell anybody that it ruined your life, that it does this, that, and the other. It won't with me. And there's a lot of successes coming in for you. A lot of successes based on that. And you will hold your true word. You will be wonderful in the community. You know how to use money well. And it's okay for you to live a life of splendor. And repeat that to yourself constantly. If you have one of those days where you're doubting yourself a little bit, it's okay to want the finer things in life. It's okay, especially if most of you have not come from it. It's okay to come to this world and experience everything you possibly can, including, scarcity and having abundance. It's okay. Not only that, but you're focusing on it. You know how to pull it in. So let's see what we have here. Teaching and learning. Keep an open mind, learn new ideas, and teach these ideas to others. That's exactly what you're doing here too. You're a teacher, and you're learning and you're teaching. But a lot of you would be great too. This is pretty specific, but still, it should speak to some of you, if not all of you in some ways. Manifestation, working within abundance of manifestation, doing a course, speaking to people. Some people might be even writing a book on money magic or this, that, and the other. But what you will be bringing in, this fierceness, this gorgeousness, if this is what I want, and standing behind it, this kind of energy. We often with magic or with intention, but I don't know why anything isn't coming to me, and it's not because people aren't talented, and it's not because they don't want it. It's because it's this sort of foo-foo kind of not understanding that you have to believe that you deserve it, and trusting that you're going to get it, and then understanding the energy of what you're working with, your alchemist path, where you can teach people how to do this. Not even base metals. The alchemists, even in the old days, that we talk about lead to gold, but they actually worked with emotions. They actually worked with all of that. You can take scarcity and you can turn it around and you can bring in huge abundance. Once you understand the basics of working, not just with magic, but the understanding the basic formatting of how money works. Again, it's not just this sort of frivolous idea that, you know, it's energy and we need to attract it. That's an element of it. It is something that we need to attract. It is an energy, but there's a certain frequency around it. Like we said, not all of it's good. You've got to come into alignment with it, understand what it means to you, accept it on all levels, and know that you deserve it and go for it. So you're going to be bringing in sort of the lost kind of version of this, or a more expansive version of how you work with abundance and getting people out there. This is something you can actually do. You're learning it yourself. As you learn something, you put it out there, and also bring in this, you know, we see this all the time. I know there's so many manifestation courses out there, you know, just get in line. You know, it's just energy, attract it to you. Absolutely. But we all know that really real magic comes from the essence of who you are and how you're in line with it, and what energy you're putting out there. So you're going to be bringing that extra element to it and understanding that. And yeah, there's certain tips that people say, you know, clear out, know that you deserve it, let it come to you. All of that stuff is real and it's true, but you're going to go deeper. You're going to be able to like really work people. This is going to be very transformational with you. So this is something that you've done for yourself that you absolutely are able to do and update constantly, as you get out there and do this for other people. That's kind of specific, but on the way that you're doing it in your life, this is what you're doing. So let's see here. This is reverse of feather. Think first before you judge. This was reversed. The novice, innocence, beginner, arrogance, new skill without practice, unstable curiosity. We were just talking about this. Just talking about lioness. You've earned all your stripes. We were just talking about this. Also, the number 13 is very important. I love this card. Isn't she glorious? Look at this. Number 13, very lucky. Unless you're in a hotel and they don't have a number 13 floor, which is hilarious to me. But anyway, this is what we were saying before, you know, getting to the crux of something, going really, really deep and drawing out the information so people can get it quicker and doing it. And also the idea that, you know, really getting into the non-judgment state of it, the sort of going beyond just the bare minimum of what we need to do, really walking the walk and living the dream. This is something that you'll be doing, and bringing your experience to that and being able to live that dream and help people too. But the understanding and the wisdom that you'll be bringing will be slightly different. It will be a take on other people, like the basic stuff that's going on that everybody tells you to do. This will be deep work. This will be deep transformational work that you've done, that you'll be working with people if you choose to do this. People will not be the same when they've worked with you. You know, you're taking people from a beginner level and you're stepping up into a more progressive level. And also, it's a matter of, you know, this feather. Think before you judge. You know, there was an aspect to you. We're just going to give you some real talk here, pile 3, where you were like, you know, it's not a judgment, but you could cut and write people off quite quickly. Now, there was a reason why you did that. It's because a lot of people kind of full of hot air. We call a little bit of hot air. They mean well, but there's a little bit of hot air going on there, and you didn't have enough energy to what you saw as wasting your time with that, because all of the energy that you had to really preserve for yourself. So a lot of this is, you know, when you have your boundaries set, you took on so much of the world, you didn't have energy to sort of take on other people's energy. No, they could have been sweet, they could have been well-meaning and all of that. There's no reason to sort of necessarily judge them or to cut them out or go, oh God, whatever. But that was a protection mechanism for you, and it was needed at that time. Now, this is a really interesting time for you too. Now that you have all of this down, you know who you are, you have this really firm foundation, you've got everything, you're standing in your own power. Now, all of this other stuff, that was a little foo-foo. They meant well, but you can take little things from everybody now, and you're coming at this from a completely different point of view. You're not coming out of this, coming into this new space that you're about to move into with the sense of protection. I don't want to take on that energy. I don't want to take on that energy. You have every right, and you will say that energy isn't for me. I know what you're saying. I think I can feel you're coming from a place of love, but there's something off here. There's something off with you. So thank you, but no, you're going to still be doing that, and that's good for you to do. Um, but before you took on this energy, where it's like there's something up with you, what's going on? And like, you would take that energy on, going, oh my God, did it? Now, the way in which you work with energy, you can cut out what needs to be cut out, but you have a wonderful filter happening for you. So you can let all the goodness of all the energy around you filter through that again at base level and come all the way up and take all the gorgeousness of people without having to cut them out because, what's going on with you, kid? And you only judged to protect because you couldn't take on that energy. It would trigger you and it would keep you in bed for 3 days, or what's wrong with the world? What's going on? So this is a new way for you to work in the world where you can filter all the good stuff coming in. Now, we're not going to say that nothing ever bad will ever happen again, and that filter is full point. I mean, stuff will come in and you'll have to deal with it, and you're not beyond not getting triggered, but when you do, you can lay those terms of that triggering. I know exactly where that's coming from. That's great. You can let it go almost immediately. So really, you're coming into this new way of being, this new gorgeousness that you have in your life, which is well deserved, and taking that self-confidence and putting it out there. I mean, you've got this like sort of ruby slippers, I've got the key to the kingdom kind of thing. I'm putting it out there, and again, having that non-judgmental sort of sentimental sensibility when you're out there with people, where you don't have to put up these things anymore, going, you're wonderful, but there's an element of toxicity to you. I got to cut you out. It's just like, you're sweet, you're doing the best you can, not in like looking down, but I appreciate who you are for who you are. Thank you for being here, not for me. There's a different way of working with this, so you're more open, but that filter's working for you. But that filter's working for you in such a way that it allows you to focus so vehemently on what you want, that none of this other negativity a lot of this negativity that would trip you up before was actually from the world, that filtered through your filter, that was kind of gummed up, and now that filter's been cleaned out. You know who you are, you're putting yourself first. And you're honoring all of your attributes, and you're not answering to anyone for whatever they think of you. You know what you know, and that's it. You also know that you're here to be a teacher and to learn the rest of your life. You're not saying that everything that you say is, you're apt to changing. You're flexible in that way. But also, when you're focusing, you can focus exactly on what you want without any of the filters of the sort of the world, the societal stuff, what you should be, this, that, and the other, which used to trip you up before and really mess up and gum up your filter. Your filter is pure, and I don't like that word. Your filter is clear, and it just allows you this new form of moving forward. It's very exciting for you. It's a new way for you to bring that power and that magic into the world. I'm feeling for you too, pile 3. We're going to do the star seeds here, one more for you. You can move in any direction. The direction is, what is it that I said the other day? A friend of mine in San Francisco, when I lived there, used to say, always, never straight, always forward. So you have a plan. You're going to activate it. For you, again, it's mostly sort of being out in the world the way that you want. That includes love. That includes bringing in everything that you want, but also successes and riches, particularly. Free spirit. To be a free spirit is to float without walls, to fly without judgment, and to love without conditions. That's exactly what we just said. You're able to do this now. Again, we want to reiterate and be very clear that when there was judgment on your part, it was a defense mechanism to protect. That's exactly what you needed to do with the way in which your filter was and wasn't working. You're not in that situation anymore. You get to like, yeah, that's wonderful. Hold space for other people, hold space for you, and hold space for other people, even if you don't agree with how they're in the world. But your specifics of what you're doing will bring ultimate truth. And that ultimate truth really is, there's many different truths, but it all leads to many different paths, as long as we're saying that there's a million different ways to get to God. So this is where you're at. Couldn't have put it in a better way. You've gotten to the real free spirit essence of who you are. It's been a long time getting here, and in any direction you can go off, the riches are guaranteed for you. Just focus relentlessly on what you want. Know that you're going to get it. Again, but with all of everything that we said, that with everything that we said in this reading, how you do that, and understanding the bare basics, and then going into the economy of money, what it stands for, all of this, drudging through that to make your peace with it, to understand that there's more to the just surface. And that's something that you're good at doing, researching, pulling everything out, seeing what works for you. So this is a new level for you. Very exciting, pal 3. Go be you and bring us your light in your uncompromising, humorous, beautiful way. Absolutely love it. So we hope that's resonated with you. If it did, feel free to give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments below. And of course, hit subscribe on that bell icon to join us at Unicorn Light Tarot, because we would love to have you. And if you did miss our intro, do not forget that we have the 100 love spells from Which Ways, the magazine, Which Way, sorry, brain fart. This is on pre-order. I am in this too, as well as a bunch of other gifted and gorgeous witches. So if you're looking for spells for love, passion, self-acceptance, and harmony, pre-order on the link below. You will not be disappointed. And I will also check out the link for Which Way magazine if you want to get your Which Way magazine groove on. They are wonderful. I worked with them. Well, I wrote for them for a couple of years ago. They still remain the #1, I believe, witchcraft magazine in the US. They are incredible. So anything they put out is worth a buy, is worth your money. And don't forget, also, we have free stuff for the channel, should you decide to come in and join us. We do have unicorn therapy, meditation, and activations. And we have also Oracle, Intuition and the Oracle 5-part series, working with your intuition, and lots of other things going on with our beautiful, go check out our School of Light, our Unicorn School of Light. We still have some beautiful things up there. And we also have, if you're dealing with fear, anything like that, for starseeds, we do have a free 3-part, if you're struggling with any kind of anxiety, just get some support. It's totally free. All of those links will be down below. In short, too late. There are many different ways to be in this magical, supportive energy, whichever way your intuition tells you to go. All right, my darlings, pal 3, go be you. Until we meet again, stay safe and sane. Bye-bye.